Well, here we are, ready to go. Someone's making a noise. Okay, well, our theme tune seems to have disappeared. I don't know where that's gone at all. I thought that being the case, then let's just get on with Check It In, being the piece from Ron Bossa. Here it is. Quickly, as things do from time to time. Ron Bossa and Checking In. The next piece I've selected for you today is Brian Bromberg and The Magic of Midnight. I know it's not midnight yet. In fact, it's only 6 p.m. here in the UK. But, well, why not? So, Magic of the Moonlight, Brian Bromberg. You are, of course, watching Jazz and Coffee, coming to you from the studios of the Moth FM here in Chester in the UK. And a very special guest coming up for you shortly, Dion Parson, who's going to be telling you about a new program that he's got featuring on the Moth FM syndicate. Brian Bromberg, then, bit of a bass guitarist of sorts. Yeah, it's quite a clever chap. And the magic of the moonlight. Now, there's a particularly fairly good pianist called Roberto Vasquez, who you can normally find in the Tropicana Casino in Las Vegas, where he is a resident. He's just brought out a brand new track. It came out today. He sent it to me yesterday. I'm rather taken by it. It's traditionally a bolero, but he's set it to a rather moderate bossa nova, which has given it a bit of a twist, and it's rather tasty too. This is it. Roberto Vasquez. Cover Ami. Beautiful sound he's got. Nice strings, gorgeous piano. And he's a nice guy too. Good afternoon, Roberto. Tinkling the Ivories there, Roberto Vasquez and Savo Ami. Rather nice, easy listening, bossa nova, smooth. Oh, it's got everything, hasn't it? Now, Laurie Williams, she brought out a brand new track last week. It's called Take My Wings. That too is rather tasty. She wrote it herself, arranged it, produced it, and here it is.
Take my wings, fly, I'll cover you. Take my wings, fly, so there may be times when you feel unsure. Remember whose you are. His love will see you through. You're not alone. Have faith, believe. There's no height you can't reach. He's there to guide your way. You're not alone. Just trust and believe. When fear and trouble come to you, His words of comfort will ring true. Take my wings, so take my wings, so when the words fade, and your heart's prayer seems locked inside, don't ever doubt. Don't ever doubt. He'll dry every tear from your eye. Remember whose you are. His love will see you through. You're not alone. Have faith, believe. There's no height you can reach. He's there to guide your way. You're not alone. Just trust and believe. When fear and trouble come to you, His words of comfort will ring true. Take my wings, so take my wings, take my wings, fly, I'll fly, soar.
Laurie Williams there and Take My Wings, and a rather nice bossa nova that is too. Patrick Yandel, he's just released a brand new instrumental single. It's called Seascape, and this is promising to be a bit of a memorable piece as well. Go into the Christmas period. Good afternoon, you are watching Jazz and Coffee. I'm Dr. Glyn. Speak up in the type box, let me know who you are, where you are, and Let's get a chat going. If you're really, 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 really unlucky, I'll get you on the line with me. Oh, John Osborne would like that, wouldn't you, John? Fading out into the distance there, Patrick Handel and his brand new track, Seascape, which is rather nice, isn't it? Greg Chambers and Carol Albert, they have new music out too. It's called It Just Feels Right, and that's been released again in the last week. This is it. In actual fact, I think we had it on last week's programme, but, well, once is never enough, is it? Greg Chambers and Carol Albert, and Just Feels Right. And it's a really nice, catchy tune. It really gets me. Now then, I did put a notice on Facebook during the week that my special guest today would be Dion Parson. I couldn't get him on the studio. I had to get him on the telephone instead. So we haven't got a video feed for him, I'm afraid. But here's the conversation we had. Eventually. Here we go.
Hi, good day.
Good morning, Dion. Are you well?
Yes, I am. Good
Excellent.
morning. How are you?
Well, I'm absolutely fine. Dr. Glynn here from Jazz and Coffee.
Yes, sir.
Now then, we're going to be carrying this program of yours on our Funky Moth station from next Tuesday. And, everybody's heard of normal jazz and modern jazz and smooth jazz and straight up jazz and Latin jazz and every other jazz. But what's this Diaspora? I mean, explain to my listeners what it's all about. It sounds very, very interesting.
Well, thank you for that question. The sounds of the diaspora is really a look into what's really happening in the Afro-Caribbean region, ranging from Africa to South America to the Caribbean to North America. We're very interested in the folks that comes from this region and the historical content and the influences that they've had on the rest of modern music, because there's so many musicians with a Caribbean background that go unheard of, or people don't even realize that they have a Caribbean background.
Mm.
So the sounds of the diaspora, artist to artist, a conversation with Dion Parson, we're really looking to connect those musicians with the rest of the world and the rest of the world with these musicians, just to share the wonderful and great things that's happening in the Caribbean.
And very interesting it is. I've been listening to some of your past music. It's very different, but by the same time enthralling, and it grabs you. I like that.
Yes, yes, yes. And we had our third show last night. We had a wonderful guest by the name of Etienne Charles, who's Trinidadian born, and he went to Juilliard School of Music for his master's degree. He's now a professor at the University of Miami. He was a trumpet player with SF Jazz out of San Francisco, and played with a lot of wonderful musicians. The week before that, we had a wonderful drummer by the name of Herlin Riley, who's from New Orleans, and he's a traditional bearer of the second line drum rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
And he's written a number of books and videos explaining what the second line is. But his conversation connects his musical historical past to the Caribbean. And our first guest on the premiere of our show, which was October 3rd, was the one and only John Toussaint, who lives in England.
Yes.
And John grew up in the Virgin Islands. I knew of John as a kid growing up in St. Thomas, and John has been living in England and has built a name for himself, but he is well connected to the Caribbean culture in England, but he's one of the mainstream jazz artists in Europe. So right there, you can see the connection of the African and Caribbean diaspora throughout the rest of the world. So that's what we aim to do, is to really connect the dots for our audience.
Is there I suppose there is a pattern like there is with reggae or calypso or something like that that typifies your genre?
Well, that's a good question, because the interesting thing is reggae is a genre that the rest of the world knows. I think everyone knows that Bob Marley has made that very popular. But we have out of Jamaica, we have mento, we have steppers, we have ska. Ska music is very popular. Some people still consider it reggae, but it's a different pattern. There's a wonderful group in England called Jazz Jamaica, which plays a lot of ska music. But that's just Jamaica, and as you venture through the rest of the Caribbean, you have calypso, you have soca, you have all of these other rhythmic patterns that's prominent and very successful in the Caribbean, especially during carnival time. But they're not that prominent in the rest of the world, even though some of these rhythms are played in other music, but it's not called the same thing. So these are the things that we discussed in the show. So that's a wonderful question. Thank you.
And I take it that this theme obviously is going to progress through. Where do you see the genre going? Do you think it's going to become really popular or just stay within the Caribbean?
Yes, I think it's a global phenomenon that's going to happen. One of the things that we talked about last night, because this question comes up a lot, what do you call your music coming from the Caribbean? And we came up with a word, we call it Jazzribian. And Jazzribian is where jazz meets the Caribbean. And we know, well, again, as we're discussing the jazz rhythms, as we're discussing the Caribbean rhythms, once we meld them with the jazz harmonies and improvisation, we have Jazzribian. And there's a lot of musicians, a number of musicians have been doing this for many years, but we have no category for it. So our hope is to create this, phenomenon, and the rest of the world can really embrace it, and Jazzribian can become a genre where people around the world, once they hear that, they say, okay, well, it's not Latin jazz because we know what Latin jazz is, and but it's Jazzribian because it's soca with jazz, or it's calypso with jazz, or reggae with jazz. And there's a number of musicians already doing these wonderful songs with these rhythms and jazz component, but there's no category for it. So our goal with Sounds of the Diaspora is to promote Jazzribian to the rest of the world.
Sounds very interesting. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say I have listened to some of it, and you get some of the tunes with steel drums in that it just doesn't look like it would fit, but it really does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yes. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because the steel drum is one of the newest instruments to be introduced to the world in the 20th century, and it came out of Trinidad. But there's a great interest in the steel drum, and there's a number of schools in the U.S. That have created steel drum programs. I'm the chair of the Communication and Performing Arts Department at the University of Virgin Islands, and we offer a degree in steel pan. And I know, yes, I know my good friend Victor Provost, who's amazing steel panist. He has built a wonderful program at George Mason University in Baltimore, outside of Baltimore, Maryland. And there's West Virginia has a great program. The University of Illinois has a great program. The University of Miami. So the steel pan has become one of the most sought after instruments of recent. And again, all part of the Jazzribian platform, because these guys are playing the steel pan with some amazing proficiency.
Well,
Yes,
I have noticed this. I mean, I'm amazed, really amazed at some of the notes that you can get out of a steel pan, and it's it's mind blowing. It really is, and
it is.
I really think our listeners are going to enjoy this series. So that starts on Tuesdays here on thefunkymoth.com, and yes. Do look out for more.
Well, I appreciate you sharing our program with your listeners. And I just want to say that our guest next week is a wonderful flautist. Her name is Dr. Christine Gangelhoff, and she's a professor at the University of the Bahamas. she's not a jazz musician. She's a classical musician. But what makes Christine so special in the diaspora, in Caribbean diaspora, is that she spent the last 20 years researching Afro-Caribbean classical composers from the diaspora. So composers from Cuba, from Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, all the way down to South America. And she's put a book together with these composers. And it blew my mind when I read the book because I had no idea that we had so many wonderful Afro-Caribbean classical composers creating music for so long on this level. So she has a lot to bring to the table, and we're very excited to have her on the show next week. So that's all part of the diaspora. Our focus is on jazz, but we're covering all genres.
I'm surprised you've actually got that many islands.
Yes, yes, yes. We're excited about the show next week, and like
Yeah.
I say, because she's done a wonderful job over the years researching some of these amazing composers, and I think this is a great platform to present it to the rest of the world.
Well, Dion, thank you very much for being my guest here on Jazz and Coffee, and thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me, and look forward to being aired on your show and being aired on the Funky Station, and we will do our part, and thank you again for having us.
It's a pleasure. And that was Dion Parson, and the program starts on Tuesday coming on. You will find it on thefunkymoth.com. You will find it on themothfm.com, and you will find it on Spotify, our new channel on there. And you'll also get a copy of it if you go to mochtube.com, where you can see it on YouTube. I mentioned for Yulia, Patrick Yandel, Darryl Walker, Rosanda Sereda, who else is on? Rebecca Kelsey, Michael Garvin, Mel Elvin, Lynn Browntree, Costella, Gert Hayes, David Margam, Roberto Vasquez, Carol Albert, Rebecca Jade, everyone's on today, Martha Zettel, Mike Harris, Chris Guthrie up there in Seattle, Marlene Palumbo, and Ashley Smith. How nice to see you all. Brand new out today, PJ Spraggins. And if it isn't love. PJ Spraggins there, and if it isn't love. Good afternoon to Ellis White, creeping around in the back shadows there, and Mel Albin, nice to see you too, and a whole host of others. Honestly, we've got so many people today, it would be impossible to list them all. We'll be here all night. I was going to say something, though, it's gone right out of my mind. Anyway, that was PJ Spraggins. Nelson Randall, he's got one out called Gratitude. And, yeah, I think we'll play this one anyway. We're actually running quite short of time. I just wanted to mention, of course, that the Moth FM and Jazz and Coffee, as far as I'm aware, is the only jazz magazine that goes out on a global scale in 4K video and pure Dolby sound. And it doesn't cost you a penny. Absolutely awesome. Where else can you get such wonderful entertainment? And me, of course, for free. But of course, if you'd like to drop me a line, drop me some cash, buy me a coffee, buy me dinner would be better. We've got to eat. I wouldn't say no. I'll put a link at the bottom of the page for you. In the meantime, this is Nelson Rangel and Gratitude.
Thank you.
Nelson Rangel there with Gratitude. Now, talking about gratitude, I want to give a great big, massive shout out to my daughter Rebecca Kelsey, who this afternoon pulled me out of the poop and literally and aided and assisted in the programming of this computer. No, that one. I was having a bit of a meltdown this afternoon. I was shouting at the machine. I know you shouldn't do that because it can't hear you, but you know, you know what it's like with these modern computers. And of course, she'll be jetting off to her new life in Belgium in a couple of weeks' time, and I suppose we'll see her for a couple of years. I thought very poignant to go with that. Roberto Valli's new track, Last Flight Home, which, it's her new home, it's where she's off to. Roberto Valli. Roberto Valli there, and Last Flight Home. Well, Last Flight Home. I see our feed has just increased substantially in the last 5 minutes. Where's everybody been? You're just all coming on now. One of them is Roseanne Suada. Good afternoon, my dear. Yeah. From where? Oh, New York. Yeah. Ah, very nice. We're getting towards the end, and I wanted to say something. I wanted to say it earlier as well. I can't remember what it was. It's dreadful, isn't it? Unam, he's bringing out a new tune next Friday, I think it is. It's to celebrate his birthday. It's called Coastline, and we've been sent an advance copy, and I thought you might like to hear it. Unam. absolutely brand new. I say that was coming out next Friday, just in time for Unam's birthday. It's called Coastline. Absolutely gorgeous, and we are out of time, I'm afraid. Got to thank everybody for being involved. You are, of course, watching Jazz and Coffee, coming to you from the studios of the Moth FM here in Chester in 4K and double Dolby. What more could you possibly ask for? And of course, our guest Dion Parson, and his chat about his program that starts on Tuesday on the Funky Moth. So you can find that on thefunkymoth.com, themothfm.com, Spotify, themochtube.com, and probably on Facebook as well. You never know, you look. So that's it, I'm afraid. Time for me to hit this button. You've been listening to Jazz and Coffee, coming to you from our studios in Chester in the United Kingdom. Remember, you can listen to this podcast again and all of the ones in the present series by going to jazzand.coffee. I'm Dr. Glynn. Our theme music is by Kirk Fisher. And until we meet next time, keep it smooth.